This is Olga from the Toy Dolls.
This is Ronan, the Toy Dolls biographer. Welcome to the Toy Dolls LPs.
Uh-oh, here comes another Toy Dolls LP, and it's a far-out disc.
Right, Olga, so now we're talking about a far-out disc from 1985. Now, people often say that the second album is the hardest for a songwriter because you've had all your life so far to put songs in the first album, and then you've got to work very quickly to craft a whole load of new songs for the second, or maybe some outtakes and this kind of thing. How pressured did you feel as the second one approached?
Oh, very. I mean, some people might not feel that pressure, you know, if you're like Fleetwood Mac or Paul McCartney, you know, you're that clever and you've got such a back catalogue of records, of songs. But the fact is that all your best stuff is already used up on your first album. So anything that was left over, that's exactly what it was, actually leftovers, which we actually used on the second album.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Well, by the time the second album came out, you'd already had the big mainstream chart success with Nelly. And I'm wondering now about the record company's perspective. You know, how keen were they to push you in a particular direction, to capitalise?
Well, the record company we had, you know, it was an independent record company, Volume, and they were just more interested in us doing exactly what we want. You know, might be different if it was a major thing, but they were very, you know, sensitive to what we really.
That's a good thing, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, but it's priceless, really. So we didn't really feel any pressure to push them in a certain direction, but we did feel the pressure to actually get the record out.
To get it out in time terms, yeah. So that was reasonably comfortable anyway, yeah. And you've often talked about how you can't really listen to this album now. It's
Not
a
really.
contrast with the first one. But let's focus for a moment on some of the positive ones. Making She Goes to Pheno's available to a wider audience, being on an album, that's got to have been a plus. Yeah,
I mean, the song She Goes to Pheno's is a good one, and it's one of the favourites live. But the actual recording on the album wasn't great, though. But the song is decent.
Yeah, and it also stands out a little bit because there's some songs on there that have become live classics.
Yeah.
So you've got Bless You My Son, My Girlfriend's Dad's a Vicar. You were also quite fond of Florence at that time. Model Schools and Motoring was acclaimed by people for its humour, which was already starting to become we're careful with the word humour, you know, it's carefully managed humour, it's not kind of comedy stuff.
Yeah, thank you.
But you've got to be proud of some of the bits of it.
Yeah.
In the way that those songs have endured.
Yeah, I mean, Bless You My Son was written, I mean, not long after writing the Dig That Groove album, and that really should have belonged on that one. And it is a live favourite again, that one. We still play it to this day. We did play Modern School and Motoring a few times. It's difficult to play live. But yeah, those couple that you mentioned, I'm quite happy with.
We're starting to put a smile back on your face about this.
Well, I wouldn't say smile, but
yeah. We could already say now, I'm thinking about structuring an album by this stage. You're onto your second, and you're already starting to sprinkle the structure with songs inspired by local people. Ill-fated girlfriends are starting to make an appearance more commonly. Were these influences that you deliberately included as sort of representative of your life?
Yes. I think it's just a lot easier to write about fact than what is fiction. In my case, I mean, fact is you're just writing down what's in already in your head. It's already just copying what's already in your head. You don't have to actually make it up. So yeah, we usually use people's real names as well at that time. You know, and we've got into trouble for it, like fisticuffs.
Times when you've got to be careful.
Yeah, I mean, we've sang Fisticuffs on Frederick Street. Was that on that album?
No.
It was around about that time.
Certainly.
But we got into trouble for that, and we got sued for it as well. And there was a lot of money at the time, you know,
that's right.
which we didn't have.
So you released We're Mad as a single around this time, and that seemed to be quite a different song from the type we'd become used to with the early singles.
Yeah, it was about bombing places.
How do you reflect on that now? Was it quite a standout?
Yeah, it's not what you usually, the kind of subject matter was different from what we'd usually pick. And it just seemed to be the right thing to say at the time. Yeah, I think even though we keep like our political beliefs and that away from the band thing, I mean we've all got our own beliefs and that. We keep the band as escapism, and that one was a bit of a diversion. But I mean, I think the song's all right actually. The guitar solo's all right in that one. So it's almost impossible to play live. People keep asking for it, but it's almost impossible.
That's right. So in the studio again, you were working with Terry again in Pity Me.
Yeah.
A little bit more time this time. Did you feel comfortable coming back to keep up, the winning formula of working with Terry?
Yeah, I think it was a good understanding with Terry at the time. I didn't have to repeat things about how to make the amp up or any little things. He already knew exactly what I liked from the first album. So it did feel very comfortable, to be honest.
That's good. And in the studio, I've got a couple of technical questions here about your work in the studio there. Tell us a bit more about the use of the foot pedal on your guitar. That's something you mentioned there. You had a certain amount of regret from that. What was behind that?
Well, I mean, the first album we went in, there was no foot pedals or anything used. It was just the amp. It was a little PV combo. It was a little bit thin and presencey and toppy. Apart from that, it was still a nice natural sound. And then for some reason, it broke down and I had to get rid of it. And I started using a different amp, and I used a pedal. I can't remember what it was in the studio for the second album, which makes a processed sound. It's not natural, and I can hear it all the way through. And and I mean, we haven't used pedals in studios or live. I use a pedal on the stage for the end of songs for feedback, but all the rest of the time it's just 100% natural through the amp. And nowadays, over the last 10 years, 15 years, the amp, I just add extra gain and overdrive it a little bit more for solos and turn it back down for rhythms, rather than use like a pedal or a processor.
I think that's interesting for musos and guitar playing fans to.
I think it's all right for sitting at home, and it's nice to have your little pedal on. You kind of turn the amp up very loud, but actually making a recording, I'm not keen personally. Yeah.
Okay. Also, technically, we've got questions come in from a fan here who asks, do you generally record the drums on an album or on any recording using a click track?
Usually, not always. Sometimes there might be a click at the beginning, and then we'll record the drums up to a certain point, and there might be a space in the middle. There might be a rest or a break of some kind, and we'll bring the click back in then. Or sometimes we have it all the way through. The fact is, having a click track is I mean, the drummer we've got, Duncan sounds like he's playing to a click track anyway, even if it's not on or it isn't. So it's fantastic. So we don't need it so often, but it's nice to have it at the beginning and in certain sections, especially when you're doing backing vocals, because you're firing in the backing vocals at a later stage. And you can sing one chorus and then have it repeated for the next chorus and the next chorus, rather than have to sing it over and over again and spend 6 months in the studio. If you've got the click track, it's all been doing the click track, everything works perfectly.
That's great. I was wondering also now about because you're renowned for your attention to detail, and that's a great thing. And for the artwork, the cover work for this album, there was involvement from Chris Donald from Viz Comic that a lot of people will be familiar with. There was a little bit of friction behind that. Can you tell us the story behind Chris's involvement and your ideas?
In a nutshell, I sent the concept to Chris with the advert on the front of the album saying "motorist," so you're looking up here, you shouldn't be looking somewhere else. Which was an advertising campaign at the time, I think, on the television or something. Anyway, I sent that to Chris and I says, use that idea. And then when the album came out, he said the idea was his, But
we move on.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, just as a final question, this album did quite well commercially. I mean, it was well positioned off the back of Nelly, in commercial terms, and that maybe that brought more investment, more marketing by the record company. Did this help to offset a little bit some of your misgivings about the quality? Do you think, even though you weren't happy with all of the songs, if it was doing well, that was a good thing as your career developed?
No, not really. I think even if it sold 50 million, which it didn't.
47 million.
Exactly. I don't care how many it sells if I'm not happy with it. It's just. I'm just not happy with
artistic integrity, isn't
it?
Yeah. Okay. Thanks very much, Olga, for talking to me
about
a far out disc.
Thank you.